Alrighty, nau mai, haere mai, e te whānau, e te iwi, or Wairarapa. This is Rotary Matters coming to you on Arrow FM, 92.7, and with me in the studio today I have Rod O'Leary. He's the president. I've forgotten to introduce myself. I'm Rob Stockley. I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Carterton in the heart of Wairarapa. And today in the studio I have with me our new president, Rod O'Leary. Hello, Rod.
Kia ora, Rob.
Yeah, so there's been quite a bit happening for us in Carterton in the last little while. The most obvious one that leaps to mind is our monster book fair that has just happened in the Carterton Event Centre. We spent several weeks, or our members spent several weeks sorting through tens of thousands of books, absolutely filled our event centre with all of those books, and then we had a flood of people come in over 2 days to pick up some bargains and find some treats. Overall, it was a great success. We managed to raise more money than we did last year. So nearly $5,000 after expenses, and that will all be poured back into community projects. So for us at Carterton, that's our first big project since COVID lockdown, and we're very proud to say that it's been a big success, and we thank the community for coming and supporting it. We hope you enjoy your books. And of course you can bring them back next year and we will sell them again and raise some more money for our community causes. So that's our monster book fair, which was pretty fantastic. Did you get along to the book fair, Rod?
Oh yes, there's a video on our Facebook page which I managed to take, and I was both thrilled and rather scared actually with the number of people who were elbow to elbow in our hall there, and there was such a huge quantity and enormous quality with those books too. So there was a big thank you first of all from our community donating the books out there, and then by on-selling them we were able to use the money from that to support our community and other projects. So it was just awesome, and a big shout out to Deirdre O'Flynn, the Mrs. O, who formerly was at St Joseph's, no relation to me I can assure you, but she was a fellow principal in Carterton, and so a big shout out to her. She was the leading Rotarian on that project.
Yeah, Deirdre's been honchoing the book fair for us in Carterton for several years, and she's a stalwart in the club, does a fantastic job. So yeah, big thanks to Deirdre O'Flynn. A couple other things that are happening at the moment. We've got, I suppose Carter Court is something that's most of us hold very dearly in Carterton. It's a fantastic facility, looks after or provides aged care for some of our residents. Last year our club raised several $1,000s and donated that to Carter Court for the purchasing of an alternating mattress. It's a fancy mattress with air pockets in it, which basically allows for better circulation for people who are bedridden. So we sorted that out last year. This year we've partnered with the Men's Shed. The Men's Shed have a project to create some nice garden paths through the orchard, so that the old folks have some nice places where they can walk and relax. So the Men's Shed are managing the project. They're doing the mahi, and we're providing some of the funds to support that activity. We're pretty lucky in that regard.
With that, Rob, just jumping in there for a minute, there's a couple of unfortunate people there who are in both camps. There's a photo going on our Facebook page tonight of Mike Hopkins as he deposits a barrow load of lime, and he's one of the Men's Shed people. He has a foot in both camps. And it was great to partner with those people. Rotary, of course, was fairly passive within it, but however, the Men's Shed, they were doing all the hard stuff. So it's great to work with other community organisations within Carterton.
Absolutely. I guess another shout out just recently, we had our club meeting 2 weeks ago, was held up at the Watermill Bakery. Up at Bolly's Pizzeria. They did a fantastic job, and there was a great time had by all. I find a lot of people, when you mention the Watermill Bakery, they go, "Where's that? What's that? It's an absolute gem. They generally only open on a Friday night and often only through summer. But groups, they will take group bookings. You get up there with about 30 odd people, and you can just have a fantastic night with some real gourmet, I would say, type pizzas. Yes. How did you find them?
I found them endless as I golfed them down.
They were certainly very generous, weren't they?
The walnut and pear was especially good, and the finishing with the dessert one, I mean, raspberries, absolutely awesome. So, no, a big shout out to Bolly and to Galinda up there, and I know of another Rotary Club who are actually going up there within the next couple of months, which is one of the Marston Rotary Clubs, and I thoroughly recommend the pizzas. I mean, Bolly's great, and that chalet that they have there is an awesome place to go to. It's a wonderful environment to sit down and just feast yourself silly.
Just looking at some of the construction methods with the timbers as they all butt together, and it's a classic old log cabin. It's almost the pizza is enjoyable, but just looking at the construction methods that must have gone into it is equally exciting.
I wonder if there's any nails used in the whole place.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I guess it'd be remiss of me if I didn't talk about something that's sort of coming up as opposed to things that have gone in the past. We've got our big, anyone who knows Rotary will probably associate Rotary with the End Polio Now program, which is it's a fantastic, very, very ambitious project which was launched many years ago by Rotary in partnership with the Gates Foundation to essentially work towards eradicating polio from the world. That's no more kids anywhere getting polio and suffering the debilitating effects of the disease. Now, the End Polio Now has been very successful. We're now down to, I think, it's 2 countries left in the world where polio virus. And I'm getting a little wave from my helper. It seems Rod might have some up-to-date statistics. Come in, Rod.
Yes, as of the 29th of last month in the world, in the year to date, there have been 87 cases of wild polio virus, and there's 211 have developed as a result of the vaccine. That's the unfortunate thing when you're in a population which is not vaccinated, that it can, especially when it is a third world country, because it's cheaper to have the vaccines there, which is an oral vaccine, which has a live vaccine in it. As a result, although the immunity then can be carried from one person who's had the vaccine to someone close at hand, so can the virus, unfortunately, if that's what happens. However, there are only 2 countries that wild polio virus is in, and that is Afghanistan and Pakistan. And there are another 15 countries as of this year who have reported cases of the vaccine-derived polio. And I get a bit upset with some of the anti-vaxxers, as all the information is available online. For instance, I can tell you when in Chad, the last person who had an onset of polio, the paralysis of polio, the date that happened, because this is Rotary internationally is working with the World Health Organization and with the Bill and Belinda Gates Foundation, and there are multi-millions of dollars have been put into this.
The fantastic thing is that the Gates Foundation matches every dollar raised by Rotary gets matched dollar for dollar, and sometimes more by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Yes. So the Rotary clubs all around the world raise funds every year to support ending polio and eradicating polio. For the last couple of years, Carterton's contribution, we've done it in many ways, but one of the big things we've done is we've held a big quiz night, and our End Polio Now quiz night is coming up. I'll read the poster so that I don't get any of the details wrong, but it's coming up on Saturday the 5th of September. I spoke today with the organiser, and 12 out of 16 tables have sold, so there's only 4 tables left, so you need to get in real quick. It's a fantastic night. Tables are 10 for $100. It's at the Carterton Event Centre. one of the biggest selling points perhaps is that the quizmaster is Chris Cogtail. Now, he's legendary throughout the Wairarapa. He runs a fantastic quiz, and it's always loads of fun the way he runs them. So anyway, to book, you need to do so really quickly because, like I said, the tables are selling out. And you need to talk to Alan on 022 101 5945. That's Alan 022 101 5945. So that's our quiz night, which is coming up on Saturday, the 5th of September.
That should be a really good night. I know 3 tables went yesterday. Just a shout out at this point for Brenda Anderson. I'm reserving a seat for you at my table as we wish to win this year. So, Brenda, if you hear this, send me a text.
Right, and I think the Carterton District Council are going to be there in strength, and we'll take that challenge. We'll be there to obviously support the cause, but to support ourselves in beating all comers. No, very good. We look forward to it. So, to some more news. We've been very blessed in recent years with the Talent Wairarapa competition. It ran for a couple of years, and then this year we've had to put it off due to the problems around COVID and large gatherings. So it didn't run this year, but last year the winner of the under 15 category was Meg Hunter. Meg Hunter, fantastic local singer-songwriter, writes all her own stuff, wonderful voice and very talented pianist as well. Comes from a very involved in the community family, and we see them around the place all the time. I understand that Rod knows Meg from when she was actually very young, being a principal himself and her having been at his school.
I can validate that she was a very good student. She is very, very musical, but also her football skills are pretty good. She was in my futsal team for a few years, and she was an awesome person to have in a team. Just an all-round great kid, and I know that I was thrilled to see how well she did last year, and in the last Talent Wairarapa, and I am just absolutely amazed at what musical talent she has, and just gets better and better. In fact, she played at the my changeover. That was the first thing I did when I had the presidential changeover coming up, was just had a quick chat with her father Minty and arranged for Meg to play at it, because she's fantastic, and it's just, there is so much musical talent which is here in the Wairarapa, and she's just an example of it.
So the last year in 2019, at this roughly around the same time that she was competing in Talent Wairarapa, she also competed in the Smoke-Free Rock Quest, and last year she came runner-up in the solo duo regional. She was a finalist and came runner-up. So this year, the Smoke-Free Rock Quest results are just being announced, and it was only last week that it was announced that this year she has again competed in that category, and this year we are very happy to congratulate Meg on winning coming first place in the solo duo regional finals of the 2020 Smoke-Free Rock Quest. I got to remind people that she's only year 11. You know, that's in old money. That's like I got to get this right. Old money. That's like Form 5. So she's very young, and doing fantastic as a singer songwriter with her original stuff. Now, I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb here, because I'm about to do something I've never done on the radio before. But what I've got is I've got a YouTube clip of Meg Hunter singing the song which she just won the Smoke-Free Rock Quest with. Obviously, the listeners will be able to hear it; they won't be able to see it. But you can go to the Arrow FM website after the show's finished, and you can watch this as a podcast and see it as well. Or you can just look for Meg Hunter on YouTube. The song is called Garden Grass, and if you just bear with me while I make this happen.
Watered by mid-morning, spilling like sunlight. With it you are swaying, but I am stuck here in the garden grass and sky. Concrete my words as the birds fly past, on a journey to see her eggs hatch at last. But her baby took to flying too fast, on its way to see the garden grass. Change the way we see the world at last, but it's time that we cannot surpass. Change the way we see the world at last, but I'm stuck here in this garden grass. Things feel different down here. No insight against the sky. How do I live without fear? Trying to dissolve the lies. Concrete my words as the birds fly past, on a journey to see her eggs hatch at last. But her baby took to fly too fast, on its way to see the garden grass. Change the way we see the world at last, but it's time that we cannot surpass. Change the way we see the world at last, but I'm stuck here in this garden grass. Change the way we see the world at last, but it's time that we cannot surpass. Change the way we see the world at last, but I'm stuck here in this garden grass.
Wow. So that, like 15, what's Form 5, 15,
Correct.
going on 16 years old,
Yes.
writing original music, writing your own stuff, competing at the Smoke-Free Rock Quest and in front of large crowds of Talent Wairarapa, and the quality of what she's producing is just phenomenal. So we're all very, very proud of our association with Meg and her family, and we're excited to see where her career goes. Would you agree, Rod?
Oh, absolutely. And really, really thankful that all her talent comes from her mother, Beck. So a big shout out for her. Her father has said, no, it's got nothing to do with me. That's where her soccer game comes from. But her creativity, it just runs in the Farr family. So absolutely fantastic. But Meg is just a gem. And she's somewhat in the raw still. And so it'll be interesting to see where she goes from here.
So one place that she did go was to your changeover. So 2nd of July, so a little over a month ago, we celebrated the changing of the guard at the Rotary Club of Carterton. So the outgoing president, Alan Butler, gave his farewell speech and handed over the chains to Rod.
Yes.
It was actually a really enjoyable night. I think Mike Topp and the crew at the RSA did a fantastic job with the meal. We had Gillian Jones, our district governor, was there with her husband Kevin. It was really a who's who of local Rotary, really, wasn't it?
Unfortunately, yes, it was a little daunting. Yes, right down to things like this caricature that was done purely for it that I happen to have here, but it was an absolutely fantastic night. And that tune, was it Garden Grows?
Garden Grass.
Garden Grass by Meg. That was the third song that she sang. So it was really I was thrilled to just watch that on the YouTube that I could see here in the studio, but unfortunately you listeners out there could not. Changeover was it was really great. There were it was a chance to celebrate Alan's year and what he had accomplished in that time. We have a booklet that was produced, and it gives an absolute insight of just how much work Rotary does just quietly in the background and sometimes noisily within Carterton and around Carterton. And Alan had a fabulous year, which was truncated at the end with the COVID and the lockdown. So it was we were really lucky with the changeover that occurred about a week after coming out of we're getting to level 1, I should say, and so we were able to actually have it. We were contemplating it, doing it by Zoom, which I suppose was everyone sitting at home with a cold cheese and tomato sandwich and a glass of sparkling.
Absolutely. So yeah, it was a fantastic night. We I guess it was the first big event that we had for our two newest members. We've got Robin Cherry Campbell and Beth Taylor joined us that evening, which was really good. We'd kind of inducted them before the night, but that was all really via Zoom, so it was all very kind of foreign. This was the first proper get-together. First real one in person, which was great. We also celebrated one of our other members that night, and I can see Rod grinning at me now. No, so one of our members, Joseph Gillard, was awarded a Paul Harris Fellowship at Changeover. And I must say, I mean, I knew of some of the things that Joseph had been involved with, most notably the restoration of the courthouse, cobblestones, his involvement with the trust in cobblestones down at Greytown, and more recently his work with Carterton Baptist Church, where they are helping establish the village for disadvantaged youth. So I knew a little bit, but when Barbara got up there and read his testimonial, I was blown away. He really does have fingers and pies and experience,
Yes.
well beyond what's normal, I think. And he was a very, very deserving recipient of the Paul Harris Fellowship.
Yes, the Paul Harris Fellowship is the highest award within Rotary. And to get it, you have to really have accomplished a lot in your Rotary career. It's not a monetary thing. It's all about service, is the motto of Rotary, is service above self. And it is that service. And Joseph Gillard has it in, spades, diamonds, club. He's full suit. And there's an enormous amount of work that he's done into that. And he was such a rich reward. If you're looking at Rotary for service, he has done fantastic things in there, and Rotary was thrilled to award him with the Rotary Cup of Carterton, was thrilled to award him the Paul Harris Fellow. Well deserving from that young man, I shall say. He'll probably smack me with his cane when he sees me next, but we don't do that sort of violence anymore. No.
So I guess a little bit on the outgoing President Alan. He before the presidency, he was secretary from the club, and he was very busy as a secretary. And then he became the president, and he was a very busy president. I think probably in his biggest accomplishment in his year, partly in thanks to his wife Sheila, was the literacy project. I thought that was fantastic. I mean, Rotary, we pulled it together as a cluster project, so we got help from neighbouring clubs, and we convened, or really just facilitated, provided the planning and the facilities, the event centre for was it a workshop? A conference?
No, it's a workshop.
It was a workshop, wasn't it? For teachers in dyslexia and the latest techniques and technologies in being able to provide learning styles or provide for different learning styles simply by just modifying the teaching styles ever so slightly. I was there in the background listening to some of what was said, and it just wouldn't occur to you, would it? Putting a line here, or it's just some of the subtle things that can make what works for some learners then work for all learners. So
as a retired principal, I can assure you there was nothing much that wasn't new there, but it was great how it was put together. But the fact that it was all there is that workshop was actually a fantastic event. You look at dyslexia, around about the time that I retired 8 years ago, it had only just been acknowledged by the government of New Zealand that it existed as a condition. At that stage, we had a resource teacher of learning and behaviour, a resource teacher of literacy at Southend School, and she had been trying for years to push through that with the government and her, and she knew a lot about treating dyslexia, and so much of it is little tricks and twists and turns that you just alter it a bit so that you fit the learning style of the student. And the good news from that is that there's a discussion on at the present time for part 2 to occur later on, hopefully this year rather than early for next year. But that's off with the resource teachers of learning behaviour at the moment. They're looking at what is needed, and there'll be some more discussion, and then we'll go into part 2, because the South Wairarapa teachers didn't get a lot of input or chance to take part in that, so we're thinking also of that happening more with those teachers, but certainly looking to do some more. It was a wonderful topic, and there was so much growth in that small area of work with those teachers, and that which gives a huge spin-off within their classrooms. And for many of them, it's actually the big tick goes to them that, what I was doing does make a difference after all, and it's just patting them on the back and say, well, actually, your experience, what you're doing is right. Just keep on doing it.
Yeah, so I guess while they may not have been new techniques, they maybe haven't had as much. They may be a little bit in the background. They just dyslexia as an issue that faced by children and by learners generally just hasn't really had as much press as it might have had, and by being able to stage this workshop, raising awareness just makes it a little bit easier, even if it's just a tiny bit easier for those learners to access learning just like everyone else takes for granted. It's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the histrionics of that, it was that the Ministry of Education was saying, no, there's no such thing. And teachers who are saying, well, in my classroom I do this and that I get a better outcome, well, they're being told, no, you shouldn't be doing. And this is the change. This was the pat on the back and saying, actually, the whole time, what you have been doing is making a difference, and here's a whole load of more things that can make a difference, because there's so many things with teaching. You try it with a child. If it works, you carry on doing it. If it doesn't, you change to something else. And, we've got amazing teachers out there in our schools. And it was great that Rotary was able to get involved and do a little bit of helping it along, and certainly it was great to meet up with a few of my former colleagues and see that they're still doing outstanding things within our education system here in the Wairarapa.
And great to be able to do it within the Rotary network here in the Wairarapa, making those connections and meeting the people in other clubs to be able to pool our resources and put on larger and better outcomes for the community.
Absolutely.
Now, so that was what I think was Alan's coup de grace for his presidential year. But I mentioned he was busy then. He maybe didn't see it coming and probably wasn't quick enough to step out of the way. But since finishing as president, and perhaps even before finishing as president, he's actually picked up a role as the district secretary working for our district governor Gillian Jones. So I've spoken to. I was secretary last year, and of course I had a lot to do with Alan, and I saw a lot of him. This year, I see very little of him because he's so busy with the district stuff. So well done, Alan, and thank you very much for your commitment to Rotary and accepting that role. I think we're in good hands there.
The other side of that, I've seen a bit of him. Well, not himself, but I have seen his letters because they come to me as president, and he's very busy at the present time. And yeah, great little job out there, and I'll be hoping that he'll make the odd mistake that I can send back to him with SP in red in the margin, like as every old school teacher would do.
You can take the teacher out of the school, but you can't take the school out of the teacher.
And he's an educator of old. My newsletters were always checked before they went out. He would go through them and he'd come back and say, there are 7 mistakes in there and what they were. And if I was feeling a bit bullshit about it, I'd say, well, actually there was 8.
Cool. Well, before we move on and talk about rather than the year that's gone, the year that's coming up, I thought we might just take another little break and listen to a song from another New Zealand artist that I really like. This particular one, Dave Dobbin, I remember listening to him. He played in Palmerston North in the town hall in about the turn of the
century.
So that makes me sound really old, but I'm not really, or perhaps I am. But he played with Tim Finn and Bick Runga. They did a tour together, and they played a lot of each other's songs, but as a trio rather than as a single. So again, if you bear with me, I'll pull this up on my phone. And
this is post DD Smash. Heck,
I know. So let's see if we can make this work.
I can remember last time I thanked you, keeping my distance unintentionally too close for comfort, staying close enough. If I could have more time, we would brainstorm, and I love you tender, but we must walk away, keeping you on my greeting card file. And if it were different, but you know it ain't. Let's get on with it, love. Call me loyal. I'll say you're loyal too. I know you're loyal. I feel you're loyal, true. Call me loyal. I'll
I think I much prefer live recordings to listening to studio recordings. Just hearing the crowd, hearing the other singers, and the little bits of rawness that come through, I think just make them special. Yeah, so I quite enjoyed that concert, as you can tell. Anyway, we were talking about sort of last year and Alan's year. I'd like to move on to talking about your year and some of the things.
But what about the red socks that Dave Dobbin would have been waving round at that stage?
Yeah, turn of the century. It seems like such a long time ago.
Anyway, sorry, to my year. Right. Well, yes, it is the second time I've been Rotary President, Rob, as well you're aware. And one thing that that I've instituted was to put a lot more pressure on the directors in the club, and there are 4 committees, and those committees. Sorry, I stand corrected. 5 committees. And those 5 committees, actually, I've given them almost full autonomy on the things that they run within the club. And one of the things that we're trying is a change within our meeting structure, and that normally Rotary has been thought of as an old grey-haired men's organisation, and we've certainly been far from that for 20, 30 years now. But however, there are some things that are still in flux, and one of them is the pattern in which we meet. And we do still have meals and a speaker on the first and third Mondays of the month. But on the second Monday of the month, we have either a social or vocational meeting, and on that one, for instance, on the Monday that's coming, we're being talked to by the life education teacher, and that's particularly looking at that vocation of what happens with those who are specialist educators. Just by chance, it happens to be with an education, which is my field, and it, however. And the fourth Monday of the month are up for committees, and that's where they're meeting and doing their things that they're organising on how the individual parts of the club run. Now, the one part which has altered with the how Rotary is set up is that we have the Carterton Rotary Club, which is more a meal and speaker club. We have the Satellite Club, and a big shout out to those. Rob's wife is a member of that, and there are 9 members who have formed their own club. Now, to be fair, they couldn't be said to be an old grey-haired men's club, as they're all under 45, and very much more a social environment that they work in. However, the main Rotary part to their club is the same thing. It's service. It's all about service within the community, and they have a very, very high focus within the community on where they want to put that service and where they can help others. And it's really great innovation. And the people who are not so much want to sit down and have a meeting and talk about it and listen to a speaker. No, they want to be out doing things. So the Satellite Club that formed last year, and that was another one of successes out of Alan's year, it works a little bit differently. Still Rotarians, still doing great things, and they are, to extent, a part of our club, but at the same time distinctly different from our club. Yeah,
the purpose of setting up a satellite was to attract different types of members. So, as you mentioned, the meet weekly with meal type member, sit down, listen to a speaker. For some people, that's just not practical. Either they're commuting into Wellington, or they've got family or work commitments that just don't allow them that freedom to meet at the same time every week and pay for a meal. So sometime the whole purpose for satellites was to try and provide a more flexible way of meeting. And indeed, the satellites, I think most of their meetings tend to be a potluck dinner at someone's house, which is quite nice. But equally, they've met socially as well. There's no rule about meeting regularly or in the same place. They can mix it up as suits their members in order to achieve the aims they've got. They've actually got a fundraising effort coming up shortly. In October, the Dalefield School will be having their Lamb and Pet Day again. Last year, the Satellites went out and ran the candy floss machine there and raised a few $100s selling candy floss, and all of the money they just handed it straight to the principal. There were some great photos, and so I understand that they're heading back out to do the same again this year. So they are a neat addition to Carterton Rotary. we have a kind of a stable membership on the parent club, around about 30 members, but by having the satellite, we've been able to add on another 8 to 10 members, and get their ideas. And being full members of Rotary and being welcome at any of our any of the club events, because they are in fact members, we get their input and their ideas as well. So it's a very positive thing for Rotary Carterton, and it's certainly a very positive thing for Rotary generally, as we try and attract new members.
Absolutely.
So what about some of the other things you've got coming up for our year there, Rod?
Well, actually, I'll just finish off this little bit about the thoughts here we'll do with the old grey men's club, because in fact we're just about 50% women, 50% men. This year, to be fair, it should have been one of our women members was up for the presidency. Unfortunately, Dr. Laurie, with her work, she spent about 9-10 months in the UK last year, and it's just in order for her to find work within her specialist area. Unfortunately, New Zealand's not the best place at the moment. So there was a gap, and I was asked to fill it. And this year I'm now the president, whereas there would have been one of our women as the head. And I was just thinking today, thinking back, how many have we had as many women presidents as men in the 17 years I've been a member of Carterton Rotary?
There's certainly a few. And
the answer is no, but mathematically it's not far from, but it's pretty similar, because it's about 43 to 57%, 43% women to 50% men. And that's been reflected by the number of presidents as well, presidents of the club. So gender is not... Yes, is of no major importance within it, and
certainly not now. Certainly not in our club.
And I repeat what I did hear in a UK club, who were asking about, do you have ladies in your club? To which I said, yes, we've had women in our club for years and years. Oh, he says, it's the thing that saved us. It was Blackpool. This was it, because God, they're good. He says they can organise things. And that was a pretty interesting. But I mean, I've known that for years. Right, back to my year. Coming up shortly, the 27th of August, Rider. Now, Rider is a program, it's an international program of the Rotary Youth Driver Awareness Program, and we're in partnership, it's all the Rotary clubs in the Wairarapa, and we're in partnership with the Road Safety Education, with Safer Journeys and Wairarapa Road Safety Council. And so in partnership with these people, we have been, this is 6th year, I think, that we've put it on. And because of COVID-19, we're having to alter a little how it's run this year and next year. Normally, it's a program with about 600 students, all year 12, from across the Wairarapa, and they attend over 2 or 3 days an event at the Solway Showgrounds in Masterton, and they take part in 6 workshops. The one that I like the best is where the car is, we have the students are not in the car, there is a proper driver in there who goes down the road and puts on their brakes in this area to run over a dummy, supposedly trying to see how safe you are, and it was to do with stopping. It's called Speed and Stopping Distances. I had to think about that for a minute, the name of the workshop. And this dummy invariably gets run over as the students are saying when this car should stop. And that's one of the workshops that take place. Well, anyway, it's an amazing event. Because of COVID, not all the Year 12s in the Wairarapa will be taking part this year, but because the schools are altering how that works. Those who miss out this year, who are Year 12, will be coming in the 1st of March next year as Year 13s, along with next year's Year 12s, and doing the program. So it'll be a much bigger program next year, whereas this year on the 27th and 28th of August, we will have some of the Year 12 students in the Wairarapa taking part in this program. And if you've been lucky enough, and I've been there every year, if you're lucky enough to take part in it, you come away really moved, and you really think about how you drive afterwards, because it does focus on how you should be doing it, and it works really well for our students. And so that's one thing that I'm really thrilled that we're continuing on the rider program. Just want to do a shout out at the moment for something that's been ongoing, and it's not far from the end of this year. Mediana Kawana from the Teen Parent Unit. She has been doing her Bachelor of Bilingual Primary School Teaching. Now, the Rotary Club of Carterton were able to provide her with a little bit of support to help her drive over to Otaki, to the marae over there, where she has been doing practical work. And we're absolutely thrilled to have been able to assist with that, and we're at the present time in conversations with the Teen Parent Unit, who will be changing their name, which will be helpful to me because I struggle to get my mouth around it, enunciate it properly. But we're looking this year to support, if possible, further any of the students from there who are looking to go further within tertiary education. We'll give some assistance in there at accessing scholarships, etc. That's one of our priorities for this year. Yeah, along with Polio Plus, which is our.
Well, I suppose that's a great segue there. We should mention again the Polio Plus quiz night coming up on Saturday, the 5th of September at the Carterton Events Centre. I'll mention again that tables are running out, so you need to get in quick to secure your table. Teams of 10. Tables are $100, so it's only $10 each. That's easy. And obviously you need to book that table, and to do so you need to talk to Alan. Alan on 022 101 5945. So yeah, get in quick and book those tables for the quiz night. As I said earlier, Chris Cogdale puts on a fantastic quiz. I really enjoy in the Wairarapa Times Age. He has his little column there with a few questions. So if you'd like to get some practice in advance of the quiz, you can get a bit of a taster in the Times Age in Chris's column.
Is this where we start to bring back Chris, as he's pretty much stopped his work now, unfortunately, after, I don't know, was it 30 years, something like that? However, Chris, if you want to send any answers, my email address is...
Yes. So I guess other things we've got coming up in the year ahead. I'm just trying to think.
Oh, I've got one adding on from the Polio Plus. Whereas the quiz that you've just mentioned, which the date for that, I believe, is the 5th of September. Now, also tied in with that as a fundraiser, we have an event called Ride the Train. Now, that is at the end of September, and I've forgotten the exact date. However, on that Friday, and it is a Friday, there will be people, Rotarians, wearing red T-shirts with End Polio Now, and riding the train down into Wellington. They'll be going from Masterton down into Wellington. They'll be taking part in events down there. There'll be people out with buckets as you leave the Wellington railway station where you can make a donation. And during that time, then during the day, there will be groups of Rotarians again with their red T-shirts on, riding the train, and they'll be going out onto every area, each train route, basically, heading up there and just filling it as an event that day, which is raising the profile of what Rotary does with polio and its eradication program. And at the moment, it's finishing with a light, well, I hope it's a light feast, because it's in the Beehive and they've got plenty of money down there. And then at 4:30 they're returning on the trains. Well, you'll see them coming back up into Masterton, and it's the same through on the other coast, because it starts at Palmerston North on the other side. The first trains in the morning will be full of, well, not full of, it will have the addition of these mad Rotarians who are out there pushing the banner and reminding people that there is this insidious disease which is nearly eradicated on the planet, but we've still got a way to go. And there are a number of people who have been victims of polio who are still in our community here in the Wairarapa.
Speaking of diseases and eradication, that reminds me of we've got the centenary of Rotary coming up soon, and part of that we're looking for planning a district project, and the one that's currently front and centre is the I forget the name of it, but it's basically to provide all of the normal immunisations that children in New Zealand take for granted, that we all get without even really having to think about it. Some of the places, some of the islands in the Pacific, it's difficult for those people to access those immunisations. Either there's not the facilities there to keep the immunisations cool and to deliver them in a safe manner, or maybe they're just so remote that it's just difficult to get to those people. And so there's a project that Rotary are setting up to effectively go out and, over the course of 3 years, deliver these vaccinations to all of the children in the islands identified. Absolutely mammoth task, and it's quite up to date. I mean, it even includes the HPV virus, which is fairly new in New Zealand, and is just not available in some of these places. So as polio starts to comes in towards the end, the new project, and I can see Rod's looking up the name of it now.
South Pacific something.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. A little bit closer to home, we've got Rotary, and this sort of follows on from the work we've done with Men's Shed and the Lime Paths at Carter Court. There's Carterton Primary School have got a skills track in behind where they are. They're part of the Bikes in Schools program, where they've accessed some funding to provide bikes and education and courses so the students can learn to be safe on their bike and safe on the road. And they've got a skills track to support that, but at the moment they've got to ride across the football pitch to get to the track around Carrington Park. So we've agreed as a club to help them join the dots, so to speak, and to carry on what the Men's Shed have started and build a limestone track across from the skills track to the perimeter track around Carrington Park, and that will allow the kids to cycle on a hard surface from the skills track to the perimeter track across to the new safety park that the Lions have built, that we donated some money towards that, but it just joins up all of these wonderful facilities that our children have available to them without having to ride across a muddy field in winter.
At that juncture, actually, I'll give a little shout out to the Lions clubs who are in Carterton. Like us, they're a service club and they do fantastic work there, and we're really thrilled to we've just got a little wee part in one corner that helps their bigger vision that they've had on that on the park there, and it's so we're great to do our little bit, and we're thrilled to be able to do that. And those who have been working with the Men's Shed should be particularly skilled to enable us to put down that lime really easily. And when does that open, Rob? You're on the council. In Carterton, we're going to be celebrating cycling throughout October. So October will be Biketober. We're going to rename that. And on the 3rd of October, it's a Saturday, there will be an event at Carrington Park to thank the Lions for the wonderful, deservedly so too.
Yeah, for the wonderful safety track that they've delivered. The mayor will say his bit. There'll be a blessing, and it's just the day will be a celebration of that new addition to Carterton, and we'll have a whole lot of other little things tacked on around it. Probably the most notable one will be the bike rodeo. If anyone saw that last year, the bike rodeo will be set up adjacent to Carrington Park, and so the kids will be able to ride around the safety track, ride around the rodeo, back to the safety track, back to the rodeo, have a sausage. It'll be a great family day, and it's really aimed at celebrating the Lions Bike Safety Park. So 3rd of October, it's a Saturday. Put it in your diaries. Great. Right, so we're coming towards the end of Rotary Matters for this week. So I guess another shout out for the quiz. 5th of September. Remember, tables are going quick. Give Alan a call on 022 101 5945 to book your table. We are coming to you from Arrow FM on 92.7 FM. Remember that there's the clip that I played of Meg Hunter is actually available on YouTube. If you if you go into YouTube and search for Meg Hunter garden grass, you will find it. or you can go to the Arrow FM website and you can see this podcast and many others. But the Rotary, this version of Rotary Matters will be the front page one for Rotary Matters for the next month until the next club comes along. So you can watch it there, and you'll see the visuals that go with that song. I'd like to thank Rod for joining me in the studio today, hearing about the year ahead and reflecting on some of the better points of last year. We did have a fantastic year, and it looks like we're going to have a fantastic year ahead in spite of COVID. I need to put out a public service announcement here. There's lots of promotion out there or talk about COVID, running rampant in places like Victoria, Australia. In New Zealand, we really need to stay on top of this and stay clear of COVID. And to that end, if you go to see your doctor, depending on your symptoms, they may ask you to submit for a COVID-19 test. We implore you, please take it. It's free and it helps keep you, your friends, and whānau safe from the possibility of community transmission. So that's really important. If you're offered it, please take it. So the last song that I'd like to finish with is another one from that tour from back in around about the turn of the century. It's the same Dave Dobbin, Tim Finn and Bic Runga. Only this one is one of Bic's songs, which is another one I quite enjoy.
She's great in concert. I remember her from the late 80s. She was awesome.
Yeah. So
Thank you, Rob. It's been wonderful.
No worries. Thanks, Rod. This is Bic Runga, Tim Finn and Dave Dobbin with Sway.
I should be much too smart for this. It gets the better of me sometimes. When you and I collide, I fall into an ocean of you. Pull me out in time, don't let me drown. Let me down. I say it's all because of you. And here my control. I'm practicing your name so I can say it to your face. It doesn't seem right to look you in my eye and let all the things you mean to me come tumbling out my mouth. Indeed, it's time to tell you why I say it's infinitely true. Makes me so tired, I feel so uninspired. My head is battling with my heart. My logic has been torn apart, and I allow it all to turn aside.